Hey guys, welcome to the channel. It's Jack with Stronghold Strength and Conditioning. And today, I've got my top 3 stiff knee stretches for you to make sure those knees are nice and buttery in the long run. But before we get into it, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Thursday, I put out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance. It really doesn't get much cooler than that, so take advantage of it. Ready? Let's go ahead and dive into this one. Alright guys, the topic of the day, my top 3 stretches for stiff knees. And I will be using a little bit of equipment today, but all 3 of these stretches fall into one category mainly, and they are flexion gapping. That's when our knee is in that deep bent position. We want to make sure that the knee is articulating well on itself and that it's not compressing too much. That's usually what we're feeling, is that stiffness from compression of the joint itself and restriction in that sense. So we're going to show you how to open up the joint, actually give it some more space to work with, and allow you to get rid of that stiffness altogether here. So these are flexion gapping. We're going to be using a resistance band or a pull-up band. We're going to be using a softball, and we're going to be using, you can use a towel, or you might need a small pillow for the third one here. So those are the things we're going to be using. Any of them will produce a similar effect here. I'm going to give you some tips with it as we go. So pay close attention to those, because we're going to make sure that you're doing it correctly here in the first place. The other thing to keep in mind is when we have knees that are struggling, it's usually something to do with our foot health or our hip health, or some combination of the two. So it's important that you look upstream and downstream from the knee as well to make sure that you are really doing your best to give that knee its most fighting chance. So if the foot is off or the hip is off, that could also be causing this knee stiffness to be reoccurring. But today we're going to show you how to directly address that knee. If you want to look at the other ranges of your body, I've got a link down below to a 7-day free mobility training challenge. What you want to do is sign up for that, register, and take a little look at the rest of your body. What's going on there at the foot, what's going on at the hip, and it'll cover head to toe a miniature systematic approach to mobility that we'd want. These are all equipment free, so you don't have to have any equipment at all, and the sessions take no longer than 15 minutes. So take advantage of that. The link is down here in the description, and you guys can go ahead and start working on the whole system. But for right now, let's dive into these knee stretches. Here we go. All right, stretch number 1. This one is a banded distraction, and I recommend that you guys start here because we are directly working at the joint capsule itself of the knee here. What we want to do is anchor a band high on the post just above knee height, so you can see that downward angle or the upward angle of pulling at the knee there itself. I'm tucking my heel as close as I can pull it to my butt, holding my shin, and at first I just want to kind of settle into the position. One thing I want to make sure I have is 3 points of contact from that foot on the floor while the heel is close to my butt. So the first metatarsal behind the big toe, the 5th metatarsal behind the smallest toe, and my heel. I am trying to keep my knee in line with the middle or smallest toes in this position. You'll gradually see me working my way up higher and higher into more of a pistol squat position where I'm kind of standing on my own. This is testing my ankle dorsiflexion in this position. The main thing I want to do is just let those muscles go that are trying to resist this pull of the band right now, and just settle into it. So take some nice deep breaths and relax as you work through this position. Alright, stretch number 2. In this one, I'm using a softball to create the flexion gapping at the back of the knee here. So you'll see me place it as deep as I can up at the back of the knee, and then I'm going to hug the shin once again, heel toward the butt. The nice thing about this one is I'm also getting self-myofascial release at the back of the calf and the hamstrings there that insert at the back of the knee. But I'm also spacing the knee by using the leverage of that ball. So what you want to try and do is actually let that ball sink deeper and deeper into those soft tissues that are at the back of the knee there. And if you find that you're able to move it up a little deeper into the knee after you start, you might be able to get a little bit more of that flexion gapping. What you'll see is that the calf might be tight. A lot of times we have compensations going on at the calf there, especially high up, that we don't address, and that can be limiting and putting excess pressure on the knee. Here I'm switching to a little bit more intense position where I'm actually taking that and putting myself in what would look like the bottom of a squat. So I'm actively driving my knees over my toes, trying to keep my 3 points of contact again from the foot as I'm in this position. And I'm using my body weight to apply a little bit more pressure. So if you need, just start with the seated position first and then go from there. The last thing I'm doing here is adding a little bit of a calf raise. So this is considered a tack and floss technique. We want to pin those tissues down behind the knee there and actively move them through the pressure to help release those tissues a little bit more. And this will help allow those tissues to relax a little bit better so that you can space the knee a little bit better as well. Alright, and our last final stretch here is sitting Casa. Now this is where you could use a pillow. Here I'm using a yoga block. If you have a yoga block, you could do similar to what I am here. But we're going to place that block under our tailbone there, right between our feet, with our feet hugging it so that you can sit. Now eventually our goal is to actually remove that block and be able to get a little bit deeper. With the pillow, what you'll do is place it on the calf, between the calf and the hamstrings, so you'll be sitting back on the pillow and have a little bit of space there. Here I'm going to remove the block and try and go a little bit deeper. This is one of the best positions for us to sit to open up that knee flexion and help restore range of motion at the knees. Now, if this is too challenging for you and you just don't see any possible way to get into it, stick around here because I've got one more little secret that I'm going to provide you guys, a little pro tip here. And it is, drum roll, using Voodoo Floss. So Voodoo Floss is a nice mobility tool that allows us to, 1, use compression, 2, use flexion gapping at the knee itself, and 3, use blood flow restriction. So we don't keep it on long, it's not longer than 5 minutes at a time, but I have my knee completely wrapped here, and it's going to allow me to get into a deeper range of motion in positions that I might not normally be able to through those 3 mechanisms right there. And here you see me sitting Casa in it, and this is not the most comfortable thing as you're doing it, but when you release it, if you try that position again, you will notice an immediate impact in the change in the range of motion that you have. Guaranteed. So check it out, Voodoo Floss or Mobility Floss. Get yourself some. All right, and there you guys have it. My top 3 stiff knee stretches to help you guys open up range of motion and regain some of that flexibility. Remember, the leg is a system as a whole, and you want to take advantage of those 7 free days of mobility down below to help you start to move in the right direction of not just looking at what's going on at the knee, but what's going on above, below, and even up above that. These are important parts. Our body is a system of systems, and they never work alone. So we got to make sure everybody's working together and pulling their part so that certain areas aren't taking extra load here. If you guys like this video, make sure you let me know by clicking that big thumbs up down below, and take a moment to share it with a friend. If you know somebody that's struggling with knee issues, make sure you get this over to them so that they can start to work on their knee health as well and get rid of that stiffness they're always ending up with. And if you have not already, take a moment and click that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Thursday I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve those aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance. It really doesn't get much cooler than that, guys, so take advantage of it. Welcome to the Stronghold Army. I'll see you guys next week.